Good afternoon, Pak Isar, Pak Riswandi, and all the lecturers. So today, Aglis Air Cargo will do our week 4 presentation. We will continue our presentation. So this is the table of contents. So first, we will talk about the destination and route expansion, and then we will continue to discuss about our fleet choice, the aircraft selection. Then we will continue to discuss about the rough calculation, the 5 years rough calculation regarding our cost and our revenue. And next, we will talk about the marketing plan and also the 5 years timeline. So let me first start with our destination and route expansion. So as you can see here in the slide, the table on the left is the supply of fish in several provinces in Indonesia. We can see that the top number one is from Sumatera Selatan with 980 tons per day supply fish. And on the right side, you can see the total demand, the demand of the fish in all provinces. We can see that here in Jawa Timur they have the largest demand in fish with a total of 939 tons fish per day. And we can see that the total of supply and total of demand is not the same. It's because of there are several maritime products, which we export to other countries as well. Uh, so here, I will explain about the route selection process. So typically there are 3 main steps. So first, the direct route from supplier to demand. So here we can see, for example, from Sumatera Selatan to Jawa Timur, we will help a direct flight because of it's our company value. We want to make a service with a direct flight, so so the cost won't be too much. And after that, the typical problem is the from the demand back to supply, or from Jawa Timur, Surabaya back to Sumatera Selatan. We cannot simply uh, help a direct flight because there is no demand there. So we will choose one hub uh, as our transit point. And here on the left side, we can see that there are several hoops that we can choose. Here, if there are numbers on this column, it means that this hoop is connect Surabaya to Palembang. So after we got the several possible hoop, next is our hoop selection. Here, for example, we can see that from Surabaya to CGK, we have the demand, number of flight, and demand per supply, and we can sum the from Surabaya CGK and to from CGK to Palembang to get the total demand, total number of flight, and total demand per supply. And for our hoop selection, and is our total average with the highest number of total average. So here we can see that BTH is our hoop selection for the returning from Palembang to Surabaya. I'm sorry, from Surabaya to Palembang. Here are the route selection results. So based on the supply and demand table from 2 slides before this, here are our potential routes. So number one is Palembang to Surabaya, Surabaya BTH, and BTH to Palembang. Number two, MDC to SRG, SRG to CGK, and CGK to MDC. Number three, and so on and so forth. And this is the picture of our route selection. And next, my friend will continue for the next explanation.
Okay, so next I'm going to explain about our aircraft choices. So here, to pick an aircraft for a full cargo fleet, we took into consideration the range of each route, the daily demand for cargo, and also airport limitations. Here on the right is an image that shows the distance between each point in our route plan, with the farthest being AMQ TGK, with a distance of 1,496 miles or 2,400 kilometers. So with that comes our first consideration, having a minimum range of 2,400 kilometers. The shortest point-to-point distance in our route plan is from Tegika to PLM, with only 260 miles or 418 kilometers between each airport. Because of the large distance difference, with one being very short and one mid-range, we decided to choose a fleet with two different aircraft specifications. A mid-distance aircraft to serve longer distances that smaller aircraft cannot reach, and a short-distance aircraft that serves shorter routes. A smaller aircraft will be picked for shorter routes in order to have a higher load factor than a larger aircraft, making our operations more efficient and generate larger revenue in comparison to a homogeneous fleet with only larger narrow-body aircrafts. The airport that has the smallest runway in our route plan is IMQ Airport, or Patimura International Airport in Ambon, with a size of 2,500 to 45 meters in length and width. So that becomes our next consideration for both aircraft having an ability to land and take off under 2.5 kilometers. Lastly, to choose the aircraft suitable for our fleet, we must also consider the demand to be served. From the daily cargo demand analysis from 2019, and assume that 20% of the market share is controlled, the largest demand for cargo per day is at route SUB to Tegika, with weighing in at about 4,500 kilograms or 4.5 tons. Since SUB Tegika's stage distance is only about 430 miles, it could still be served by the shorter distance aircraft. So a benchmark of 4,500 kilograms payload needs to be passed by both aircrafts. Next.
Okay, so next, based on the consideration for aircraft selection, including the range, payload, and the takeoff and landing distance, here are the possible aircraft choices that we have chosen. There are three types of aircrafts, which is the ATR-72-600, the HC-8Q300, and the Airbus 320. And the specification for those aircraft is as follows. Next. From this graph, we can see from the maximum payload and range. For short route and not that many payload, we can choose from the DHC-8Q300 and the ATR-72-600 because it can only go up to 1,700 kilometers and 1,400 kilometers. But for the more further routes, the middle route, we can choose from the Boeing 737-800 because it can cover up to 3,700 kilometers. And lastly, for the long route, we can choose from the Airbus 320 because it can reach up to 6,100 kilometers and carry payload for 16,600 kilograms. But we still haven't chosen our aircraft yet because our routes that we wanted to serve is still in development. Next.
Now I'm going to present about our rough calculation. Next. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay, now I'm going to present about our rough calculation. Next, these are assumptions that we use for our calculation. First, sum of cost related data are using data that given in air transport assignment 3 question. For example, maintenance costs, landing fees, navigation costs, etc. Then we assume that we will lease aircraft with the age of 5 years old with demand cargo that use is only for 2019 data. Third, details data about cargo-related costs are not included due to the limited time to get the data. These costs included ground handling costs, regulated agent costs, freight forwarder costs, etc. The block time data and stage length are acquired by using calculator in this link, and the block fuel calculation only considers the average fuel consumption per block hour for each aircraft with unknown payload carried by the aircraft. These costs are acquired from this link, including the interest, but this data is limited to passenger aircraft only. We also assume that our market share for marine product that transported by air is 20%. This calculation shown is limited to DHC-8, Q300, and ATR 72-600 aircrafts. Because after we try to calculate using a large aircraft such as Boeing 737 or Airbus A320, the load factor per day will be very low, hence very high selling price per kilogram it's needed to cover the total operation costs. Next. The following shows the load factor data from both aircraft candidates that will be analyzed, where the data of daily cargo per 2019 has been multiplied with the market share percentage, which is 20%. The column highlighted in yellow show the routes that have very low load factors per day. It can be seen that the load factor of DHC-8 has a higher value due to smaller maximum payload compared to ATR 72. Next, please. The detailed route analysis using the DHC-8 Q300 aircraft is shown in the following. It can be seen that the 4 highlighted routes show that these routes cannot be served using DHC-8 aircraft due to the maximum range limit. After obtaining the operational cost per trip for each route, the break-even point price is calculated for each potential route that we plan to serve. Next. The same analysis applies with the ATR 72-600 aircraft, resulting in this table. Next. The following table shows the feasibility of the potential routes that has been analyzed, where criteria for a route to be feasible for surfing is a break-even point price under $3 to ensure the affordable price we aim to give, and also the stage length of the routes that did not exceed the maximum range of the aircraft that will be used. From this table, DHC-8 is more suitable for Aglis fleet with the shown routes because the break-even point price which is lower and has more feasible routes, which are 6 routes. On the other hand, there are only 5 feasible routes for the ATR 72. Next.
In order to fulfill our operational plans, marketing plan will be very essential to the company since it becomes our opportunity to start building our image. We would prioritize building our image since it becomes the main way to attract more customers. From having awareness of our company's presence to building interest in using our service until giving them the satisfaction by proving to them that our service is useful and convenient for them. We aim to give our best so they will return in using our services again, as well as they will spread the positive reputation about Aglis, making more people intrigued. So what is our marketing plan? Next, please. There will be several things considered as a part of Aglis's marketing plan. First, there are two types of price schemes, which is regular prices and another is prices offered through partnership. If a customer is willing to join the partnership program, we will give them a special price which will be cheaper than the other options, however, with several conditions. Next is our scheduling, where we plan to conduct at least one flight per day, seeing from the existing demand on the routes we plan to cover. Next, our service will have an integrated reservation system since the very beginning of our operation, where customers can check on their airway bill through our website. And we also have reachable customer service for customers to contact anytime to contact us. In our services, we also guarantee an on-time delivery. And if the package does not arrive on time, we will offer a discount price on the next order for those customers. We also aim to send all packages without any losses. However, if there are any unwanted events, we cover all the cargo we send with an insurance in case there are any missing goods. Next.
Now I would like to present about our 5 years timeline. Our 5 years timeline will consist of several consideration, such as operation, marketing, and fleet expansion. Next, please. Next, please. We will like to present our 5 years timeline. Next. Our 5 years timeline is presented through a Gantt chart, divided through quartile that owned by the each year. So our 5-year plan will consist of 3 stages. The first stage is for opening the first route, and the second stage is for each stage. It's used for opening new stage for routes. For example, the first stage is operate at the first quarter of the 2023. And for the first stage, we're actually going to have a feedback. So we're going to do like a soft opening, and then we open again after feedbacks. And then we will use the first route customer partnership deals in fourth quarter of the 2023. Also, we are going to have procurement of new aircraft through leasing twice in the quarter of 3 in 2022, and then in the quarter of 2 in 2024. Another procurement is used for the third stage, but the third stage route is not yet developed yet. It's not yet developed. So we're going to do this iterative process of collecting feedback, so we will have better and better serving to our customer. Also, this stage is used for the first is used for doing the operation. Next. The first stage, we will have 2 aircraft with 6 destinations. Those destinations are Palembang, Surabaya, Batam, Manado, Semarang, and Jakarta. With our target using 20% of our market share, is approximately 7,000 kilogram per day for each flight per day. And then the stage 2, we will have 5 aircraft with 10 destination, with the 4th addition, which is Ambon, Palangkaraya, Padang, and Pekanbaru. With our target of aircraft is 5, and then having 16,000 kilogram per day to serve our service. And then the stage 3, we will have a future development of our company, which we will talk about more later in our presentation, in our next presentation. Next. That is all for our presentation. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation for week 4. Any feedback and suggestion is very welcome. Thank you.